Hello friends, so I'm making a planter with a birch wood technique on it. So this is a, uh tin which is an empty tin. It is an gulab jamun tin. So what I did, I it was lying with me since a long time and I had already gessoed it, but I had not done anything on it. So I thought of changing the shape. So I just pressed it from the sides, and it got a nice shape like a basket. So I thought of changing the shape better than round. I like this one. So I have taken a plier and I'm pressing it on the corners so that it gets a bit tapered from the side, and it will have a very nice look. If I do it, I could do it from the bottom also, but then it won't stand. You'll have to hang it. So if you want to keep it on a table, you'll have to keep the round base intact. Okay, so I'm not disturbing the base, and just here I'm pressing a little bit because it is giving a very nice shape. Okay, like a bucket only, but uh, it has got a very nice basket like effect. So it is already gessoed, so you have to gesso it with a brush or sponge is better. So apply a coat of gesso with a sponge. It is Camel Gesso. I have applied, it is already there, so I'm not applying it. I'll be showing the gesso. uh, So we need a palette knife, and I'm making a special texture paste. Okay, so this texture paste can always be used on any of your projects. So for this I am taking um, 1 spoon of gesso. Here I've taken half spoon of gesso. Now you can take one or half. It is not a problem. Little bit here and there, the measurements are okay. Okay, so here I've taken it is actually not even half, but take half spoon of gesso and half spoon of Fevicol. Okay, we'll need half spoon of Fevicol. So half spoon of gesso and half spoon of Fevicol. So this is 1 spoon I've taken. Now to this I'll be adding corn flour and baking soda. Okay, so corn flour I'll be taking 1 spoon. Take 1 spoon of corn flour. And to this go on adding your baking soda, because we want the texture of the baking soda. It will give a nice grainy texture. You can add sand also. You can add rava also. That is the suji. Anything you want, but I'm going to add baking soda. So it is a bit dry, so I'm adding little bit of Fevicol. So earlier I had not taken completely half spoon, but now I've taken little bit, so it is completely half spoon of Fevicol now, half spoon of gesso, and I've added 1 spoon of cornstarch to this, corn flour. Okay, so this is the measurement till now, and to this I'll add the baking soda to make whatever consistency I want. So it should not be very flowy. It should be so much thick that it should uh, get stuck to the base. So this is the baking soda. So here I've taken half spoon of baking soda, but we will need to add half more spoon of baking soda. Whatever quantity is required, go on adding to make it a bit thicker. Mix it. Just check it. I need to add a little bit of baking soda. Okay. So half spoon I've taken of baking soda. Mix it properly. And now I'll start applying it. So we need to apply horizontal strokes. Okay, we need to make scars on this. Okay, so at a distance I'm making the scars. You can see the thickness, it's not too thick. Okay, 5 to 6 on one side is fine. So you can do this on MDF, your glass bottles. So this birch wood is not found in India. It is found abroad. It is a white, brown, gray, and a little bit blackish kind of wood. So we are not going to paint it with any color. Just do dry brushing on this. So wherever I want the textures, I'll make this horizontal. This I'm doing on the sides, just long strokes, because it'll catch texture. The texture will catch color when I'll do the dry brushing on this. And on each side, I'm doing 5 to 6 horizontal applications of the texture paste. And this is to be dried completely. Leave it to dry, or if you have a hair dryer, you can dry it with a hair dryer, but more preferably leave it to dry naturally. Don't make very long strokes. Small scars are required for this birch wood. And I'm going to do decoupage also on this. Close the lid properly and keep it. It will stay for at least 15 to 20 days in the refrigerator. And now this is Camel Gesso. So Take Camel Gesso and I'm going to tap it all over the tin so that I get a little bit more of texture. So this will give a nice grainy texture. You can take a small piece of sponge also. I've got this dauber, so I'm using it. And now leave this to dry. Let it dry nicely, or dry it with a hair dryer. And now I've taken sleigh bells gray color. You can make a gray color with our regular acrylic and white color, or you can add gesso to the black. You can take our black Fevicol color or camel color. I've got this gray color, so I'm using it. And if you add gesso to the black color or acrylic color, then you'll get a nice chalk paint like effect. So you can use acrylic colors, not compulsory to use chalk paints. Okay, so I'm taking very little of this gray because we are going to do dry brushing. I'm not going to paint it all over. And I'm going to add a little bit of gesso because I want a little bit lighter shade, not a darker shade. And the white background of the tin, the background should be retained. It should not be covered with the colors because a birch wood is a white background only. So I've taken a brush and I've removed all the moisture from it. This is a special brush for dry brushing. It is a white head brush. It is available on Amazon, or you can try it in nearby at your nearby stationery shops. It is a bit rough. It is from Aurora. I have bought it. 1 inch is fine. You can buy a 1 inch one. You can buy it from hardware stores, but the quality of the hardware stores brush is not so good. This is a very nice quality from Aurora. You can buy any white haired brush which is a bit rough for dry brushing. Okay. So near the scars I'm doing a little bit more of the dry brushing so that it catches the color more. and the scars will be more visible there. Okay, so a very light-handed stroke is required. Okay, so feather strokes all over with the gray color. So if by chance it becomes patchy somewhere, you can just again tap the sponge which has got the white gesso and again redo it. And now first we have always to do the vertical strokes, and now I'm giving horizontal strokes. Okay. So this is the brush from Aurora. It is 12 number. I found it very heavy, so I'll check for a smaller height brush which it will be comfortable for me. So I'm done with this and I'll leave this to dry. And now the next color will be brown. This is a Steward House brown from iCraft. Any brown is okay. I've first taken this lighter shade and then I'll be doing a darker shade. So I'm just keeping back some color. It is the same dry brush I'm going to use, and load the color on the brush, remove all the moisture. Okay, and now same way, first vertical all over. And now horizontal strokes. And on the scars, a little bit more pressure. I'm covering the edges with brown. Maybe I'll do the de-stressing with black later. So here I'm doing a little bit more on the scars. And now I've taken a sponge, remove all the excess color which is there. Very dry effect we want around the scars. I'm just tapping the brown color. So raw umber and then the black color. And the black tone will finally create the magic on the uh, birch wood finish. The raw umber color is a tube from Camel. It is artist acrylic color. And now the black color from iCraft. I'm using a chalk paint. You can use acrylic colors also. So I'm directly taking it from the container, and I'm removing all the moisture, and only horizontal strokes with black, and more stress on the scars. Okay, so the scars will be enhanced. The textures will come out very nicely with this black color when a little bit pressure is applied. Taking a little bit more of brown. Rubbing it on the edges. So I'll be sticking this tissue on the tin, and I've taken I'm going to cut this out. These points that are flowers, I'm going to cut them out precisely according to the shape, and 2 or 3 maybe on one side I'll stick, not covering the entire background. Okay, so one I'm cutting, and 1 or 2 I've already cut. So this is a beautiful pattern paper, and I had decided to make something in red. So the artificial plants which I'm going to put in this, I've made small berries of the stocking cloth that we get for flower making. That also I'll be showing how one of it how I've made. Okay, so I'm taking this red flower. I love it very much. This tissue is my favorite, and on the first day of this new year I decided to do something which uh, is my favorite. So I love this technique, so I decided to do this. I have done it on 2 more small tins, that also I'll be showing you. So the texture that we have done with the texture paste we made, you can do it directly also with gesso. It's not a big issue. But if you want a grainy type of the texture effect, then you can make this texture paste which I showed in this video. Okay, so this is going to make a very beautiful planter for artificial plants. You can put your real plants also inside this after you varnish it. Uh, okay, so I'm going to splash some droplets on the background. So you get stamps of small dots. If you have them, you can use them with archival ink. So on birch wood, if you see, there are small dots around the scars. So if you have that kind of stamp, I'll be showing you that. You can use that stamp, or you can do just few droplets with a brush. Okay, so I'm using a round brush. Little bit watery the color should be, and with the brush you can't control where the droplets will be on the background. So I have got an unbranded stamp. It is available, I think, with few of the online craft stores. I'll check if anybody has. I'll put the link. Okay, on this side, I think I should use the stamp so that I can show you the stamp also. And I'll be doing some postal stamp stamping also on this. So this is the stamp set. It has got two types of dots. One is a very small dots stamp, and other one is a bit longer. So I'll be using both. So you can't put it on an acrylic block because this is a bit roundish shape, and this is the archival ink especially for stamping. So it's difficult to hold the stamp, but then too I'll try. Just place on it and randomly stamp here and there. So it gives a nice beautiful look. So this stamp set has got checks and a few more nice textures. So around the scars. So this is the longer one with the dots. This is easier to hold. Okay, so randomly here and there you can do the droplets. Looks very beautiful. I'll do it this side also. I just love the stamp. And I'm done with the stamping part. And now the cutting of the flowers from the tissue is done, and I'm using Fevicol Mod Podge. This is the glossy one. Any decoupage glue is fine. So since this is a tissue, we'll be using very little quantity to stick it. So remove the extra ply which is there behind. Place the tissue. And you can stick in two ways. Take very little glue, the Mod Podge on your brush, and stick it on and apply it on the top or apply it on the base, and then place your tissue. So take the glue, put it on your take the decoupage glue, put it on your base, and then move the brush over the tissue. There should be very little glue on your brush, or else the tissue may tear or there will be creases behind it. And now the remaining portion I am sticking it by applying the glue over the tissue. Okay, very little glue I'm taking. Okay. If you're very confident, then only try this technique, or put the glue below the tissue and then do it. I'll be using a plastic also and showing you how it is to be done without any creases. So there is texture, so nicely press the tissue so that you get the texture over the tissue print also. Now the small one, I want to place it here on the top. Let me check. So this is the plastic. If you want a creaseless finish, always keep plastic ready and just move the plastic over the tissue so that you can remove all the air which is there below and you won't get any creases also. This is the technique for using a plastic. This is the best technique. You can press the tissue nicely. So I'll place two flowers on one side. It is the same technique for decoupage. And now after the sticking of the tissue is done, I'm applying a coat of Mod Podge all over. Only on the tissue you have to apply Mod Podge. Overall we'll be applying the varnish after this dries up. Okay, so the sticking of the tissue is done. So wherever you want a full flower, you can stick a full flower, or somewhere you can stick half parts of the flower. Cut them and then stick. Just to be sure that the tissue is stuck, a coat of varnish or coat of Mod Podge over it is compulsory. So wherever you want, wherever there are no scars, you can stick the tissue the way I showed. Okay, just press it properly so that the texture will come on the tissue also, and you'll get a nice natural look. So this tissue is looking awesome on this technique. So better than round, the shape is looking very nice. So I'm thinking of stamping this, but no, I'll do the postal stamps only. That will look much better. This is an branded stamp set. There is a postal stamp set available with Itsy Bitsy, I think so. I'll check and I'll post the link, or maybe with hnDMD.in, that is craft angles. So there are in this stamp, I don't know whether this stamp set is available, but a stamp set is available, some other one maybe. I'll check and I'll post the link in the group. So whichever stamp you want from the postal stamps, you can stamp, or else it is optional. And in this tissue also there are some postal stamps. You can use them also if you have the same tissue. So you can do stamping with chalk paints also. You can just dab the chalk paint with the sponge on the stamp and then do the stamping if you do not have archival ink. So this is my favorite. It gives a very nice postal effect. So I've taken this black chalk paint and with a brush, just very little paint in the brush, just rubbing it on the scars just to highlight it more. And this looks beautiful after this black has come over it again. There should be very little, no, actually no color in the brush. Very dry brush, or else you'll get patches. So carefully use the black color. Now it looks awesome. And I'm doing de-stressing of the edges with this sponge which has black color. Remove all the extra color and then rub it on the edges. So finally I'm doing black color on the edges on both the sides, up and down. Wherever you want to highlight, you can use this black dry brushing on the texture. And now the final step is varnishing. I'm using Itsy uh, matte varnish. So 2 coats are enough. So after the first coat has dried, apply the second coat. A very thin, even coat is enough. Spread the varnish properly. Do not leave any patches here and there, or else when it dries up, it becomes it looks very dirty. And some people have the habit of putting too much of varnish, but always apply a flat, even coat of varnish all over and spread it properly. Okay, so after the first coat has dried up, I'll apply the second coat. And the varnishing will give a perfect finish to the birch wood, faux birch wood, which we have made. And I've made these red berries um, which are there on this artificial plant. So I'll show you how to make this. I've taken a little of cotton. This is the flower making wire. Any size, any thickness is fine. So I've taken it about 2 inches, and I'm folding it on the top and put it inside the cotton so that it doesn't come off, and roll it around roll the cotton around the wire. And roll the stocking cloth. I've taken it double so that the cotton is not seen, and roll it. And if you've got a red thread, it is fine. Any red thread, even the sieving thread is fine. So just make 2 knots over it. Cover this thread with a red paper. Any crepe paper is also fine if you've got a red crepe paper. Cut off the extra thread. And I'm going to cover this with crepe paper. I've got a red crepe paper, so I've cut it into a thin strip. Apply Fevicol on the thread and just roll the paper over it. Let the wire be green, because when you're going to put it on the artificial plant, it will match with the branches. Only around the thread is fine. And now just put it on a branch and just roll the wire around it. Let the glue dry, then do this. I'm just showing it. So you can make many such berries.